Good morning from a very windy Lisbon. It is blowing so much out there so you can hear it creaking in the windows. Anyway, I hope you are well. This is the 6th of March 2026. And in today's reflection, I'd like to answer a specific question. Maybe you heard that. The wind is just grabbing the windows. I'd like to answer a specific question, and it's how do we need to proceed in order to remove ourselves from this situation? So if you are in a situation that is not very healthy, I'd like to look at this situation and see what steps we need to take and how we need to sort of act and move forward, or in order to sort of get ourselves out of this situation. So we're starting by grounding ourselves into Mother Earth and connecting to Father Heaven above. So root down into the surface below, whether you're sitting down, lying down, or you're walking, or if you're walking, you're rooting down with your feet. And as you breathe in, the spine rises towards the sky, the crown pointing towards the sky, and as you breathe out, you relax downward and becoming heavier downwards. But your spine remains rising up towards the sky. But this is not like a very tight position. It's relaxed, although rising. So it's almost like you got a silk thin thread from the heavens above attached to the crown point and holding you up. And Mother Earth is pulling you down. The gravity is pulling you towards her. And as you breathe in, the stomach expands all the way around, backside, front. And as you breathe out, it contracts. And we're going to start with 3 cleansing breaths. So we are first emptying the lungs out fully. And then breathe in through the nose, filling the lungs all the way down, all the way up. And then breathe out through a pinhole through the lips. Releasing all stagnant chi, stagnant thoughts, stress. And then breathe in through the nose. And breathe out through a pinhole through the lips. And then one last breath. Breathing in the present moment. Breathe out the past. Actually, I saw a little short interview, like a bit of an interview with Taylor Swift. And she told me about something she learned from Dolly Parton. She read an article, like about an interview from Dolly Parton. And Dolly Parton said the most important thing to take with you to be able to be joyful in the present moment is to be able to forgive yourself for everything in the past. Right? So we don't keep dragging it into the present moment by thinking about it, repeating it over and over and over again in our thoughts. How could I have done that better? Or, why was I so blah, 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 all these kind of things, right? How could I have changed the situation? It's like the past is gone, right? So we're trying not to bring it into the present moment. So we need to forgive ourselves for all the times we didn't speak up, maybe, for all the times we didn't act when we should have acted, for all the times we made mistakes. Oh, God. I can go on about that forever. Right? But then if we keep on thinking about that, then we remain in the past and we're not here in the present moment, and we cannot create here, okay? And this is where anxiety and all these kind of things arises, because it's just residues from the past. How do we need to proceed in order to remove ourselves from this situation? Heaven, earth, fire, water, thunder, wind, wood, mountain, lake. So we've got fire. Fire. It was actually quite interesting that wind was where it was in the first draw there. So let's start. How do we need to proceed in order to remove ourselves from this situation? Whichever situation you're thinking about. Heaven, earth, fire, water, thunder, wind, wood, mountain, lake. So we've got mountain. Stillness. Now, how do we need to proceed in order to remove yourself from this situation? Heaven, earth, fire, water, thunder, wind, wood, mountain, lake. So we've got kun above gen. So a lot of yin energy here, so which is one solid line in the middle, and then let's find the changing line. So what is this strongest? Whereabouts in the process of this hexagram are we, and what is the strongest energy there? So 3, oh, we're getting the changing line is third 9, which is then, oh, third 9, which is then changing into yin, which we've got all responding. Responding is all these yin energies, but responding, not taking action, okay? And this is the overall energy. Well, I think it's energy that we're taking with us throughout March, actually. It's not the overall energy from the reading in March, but actually the first reading I did in March was kun as well. So let's have a look at the nuclear. So we've got yin, yang, yin, which is water. Yeah, it's this sphere within. And then we've got yang, yin, yin. Even here is lots of yin, right? It's speaking of not much action. So here we've got Zen, although Zen is movement for sure without, but within we have Kan, so which is related to fear. So here we've got kun, earth, responding, responding, responding. Stillness, which is again here. Stillness and responding, moving into responding, some more responding. Okay, let's have a look at the hexagram. We got kun over again, which is number 15. I think this might be a new one for this year, to be honest. Don't think we've had number 15, at least not as the main energy. And then we've got number 2, of course, which is kun and kun. Kun over kun, which is number 2, which we know is responding. Kun. It is kun, earth, duplicated, so in doubled, and this earth energy. And then we have Chen, thunder over water, gun, 40. Let me have, so yin, yang, yin, yeah, that's true. Kan over kan, which is 40, which is the energy that's feeding this situation, right? What's coming from within, which is hidden. But let's have a look at the main energy, humbleness. Yeah. Kyan, which is interesting, it's got the same kyan, which is initiating, which is humbleness. But in this case, obviously, it's lots of yin lines. It's not kyan, humbleness. And that is earth over mountain, which should be an earth, yeah, earth energy. And then number 40. Relief. Wood. Within. So let's start. So we're being guided to stay humble. Like often when we go through really tough situations, I keep seeing other people as well who's going through when they're not being heard. Like situations when we're not being heard are very difficult indeed, right? We're being ignored. It's like if you look at what's going on, like a lot of women who are not being heard. Like we have to prove ourselves 25 million times before our word is being heard quite often, right? If you compare it to a man who can just say anything, believe him, right? It is difficult to stay humble when we're going through, that's just an example, right? But when we're going through a situation where it's very difficult, right? We might just want to scream at people. And but this is where it comes in as being humble, right? Because quite often people who are harming us don't actually realize they're harming us because they're being harmed as well, right? It's like a cycle. Like when you have something, like the greatest harmer or the most dangerous trait to have is ignorance, right? Not being aware. And this is the trait of most people on the planet today. We're very ignorant. We cannot see properly what's happening. We are listening to words, for example, like somebody says something, like, oh, listen to me, poor me, right? But they're not scratching the surface. People are not scratching the surface and looking within and then see what's the truth, right? And when you are in a situation where you can see how wrong it is and how you're being mistreated in this situation that you are in, this toxic situation, right? And you can see it, but nobody around you see it. It is so easy to become angry and resentful and thinking that people are idiots, right, who cannot see. And it's because you are being hurt here by these people. But we need to... Now I'm not meaning somebody who's like, if there's a person who's directly harming you, like, I'm not saying that, right? Somebody's doing, like, there are people who are harming, like, really, people who are doing, actually intentionally harming you. I'm not speaking about that at all. That's not included here. There it's just strong boundaries, get out, right? That's it. People do not have the right to treat you bad. It doesn't matter what the reason is, right? Even if they're unaware, they don't have the right to treat you poorly, ever, right? Or treat anyone poorly, ever. There is never an excuse for that. And if you look at karma, for example, karma, most people think that's a kind of punishment, but it's not. It's what you give out is what you get, right? And then when you are doing things that are harmful to other beings or to the environment or to anything, like things that are negative, things that are causing havoc, when you are doing them, you are creating karma for yourself, right? So you're accumulating karma. But you're accumulating karma even if you're not aware of that you are harming people, even if your intention is not to harm people, right? It's to harm. If the intention is not to harm people, it's like, but you don't understand because you own your own actions. Who's going to own your actions apart from you? You cannot blame it on anyone else, right? You could have, of course, been mistreated and have lots of trauma and all this, right? But at the end of the day, you need to work through this, right? So it's like if you are being mistreated when you were younger, or as a child or something, it doesn't give you the right to go and mistreat other people, right? Because then we've just become the same as that person, and that mistreated us. So it is. One would hope, one would like it to be that the person who did something wrong to us actually had to pay for it. Well, they have to pay for it as well in their own way, but that's a whole different story. But they could do something to sort of heal us, but that's not the case, right? On very few occasions do we get like an I'm sorry, but most things people do, they're not aware of that they do it, so they don't even realize that they have to apologize because they think they're doing the right thing, and they cannot see it. So this is where, however, this does not give them right to do this, and this definitely gives you the right to remove yourself from the situation. Definitely, you should do that, okay? So humbleness comes in here. It's to be able to remain humble, although you are in a situation where you can see clearly that really bad things are going on, right? It might not affect you personally, it might affect somebody else or another group of people or whatever, but it's to stay humble. Actually, if you can stay humble and starting to look at the actions and where they're coming from and trying to understand them, because if you're trying to understand them, or at least where they're coming from, then you can take decisive actions. You can make a great plan, right? And how to either get yourself out of this and get people out of this situation, or to just, to remedy it, right? Because when we are angry and frustrated, all this, right, and being all riled up and we're thinking about all these terrible things people have been doing, then we cannot think clearly, right? I have 3 treasures that I guard and hold dear. The first is love, the second is contentment, the third is humbleness. Only the loving are courageous. Yeah, and true courage. This is like a mother who would just do anything for her child, right? Or a father as well. So not taking that out. So the father as well, a parent is doing anything for the child because they love them so immensely, so they could just go into death for them, right? And that's when you're truly courageous. We just throw away all your fears and you just step up and do whatever is needed to protect your child, because this love is so immense, right? So without bound. Only the content are magnanimous. So if you're content, magnanimous, you can share, right? If you're pleased with whatever you have. I have, 3 coins. I don't know. Like me, I don't even have a home anymore, right? But I'm content with, but I've chosen that. It's not like I'm homeless in a way that I've not chosen it, but I've chosen that. But we're being content with the situation that we are in, right? And accepting it. And from there, we can actually be magnanimous. We can actually share our knowledge. We can share our love. We can share whatever we have, rather than fighting us through, right? We can share our wisdom, right, to help people to get through whatever they need, right? And only the humble are capable of commanding. So true leadership comes from humbleness, like to barging forward. Like we see leadership today all around the world, the ones that are earning billions and billions, just barging forwards, taking. They're not true leaders, right? And we're seeing now how it's all crumbling, and seeing how corrupt quite often many of these people are. I'm not saying all billionaires are corrupt. I'm sure there are some good ones as well. But generally, how it's like you start with success. Maybe you have a success, and then it grows, and then it goes, and because you're not prepared, and you're not cultivated your own inner virtue, you're not prepared for this, so everything just goes awry because the person is going through this, right? We are not prepared for it because we don't have this inner stillness, we don't have this humbleness, we don't have this to rest into our own, this solid within, right? So when things starts to go very well, it goes over our head, and we just want more and more and more, and grasping, we forget about everyone around us. And these are the people that are our leaders, but they are not good leaders, right? They're terrible leaders. Like a good leader is humble, and it wants the best for the people that person is leading, right? It wants to be an inspiration. It wants everyone to feel good. And in order to do that, you need to be humble, because you need to be able to put yourself in other people's shoes to see, okay, I understand that. Maybe that's not good behavior, but I understand it. How can we correct this? Right? How can I help you correct this? How can I help you getting out of this situation? Or how can I serve to calm our inner? So here, from seeking harmony through great harvest, going on to humbleness, these 3 treasures are fully expanded. So we seek harmony within, right? And with having harmony within, we can reap the harvest of peace and contentment, right? And love and contentment and humbleness. This is the great harvest. Love, contentment, humbleness, and then going on to living in humbleness, okay? So let's have, after a great harvest, one should not be filled with satisfaction and become proud. Thus, after great harvest, humbleness follows. Yeah, this is what I was talking about, right? We have lots of success, and then we just become too proud, and we're going like, oh, I'm so great, right? And that's a sign that we have no inner center, right? Because we're being thrown to, wobble, right? As a wobble, as like getting a person who's out of center. So, and there's also, so we have Gen, which is stillness, and Kun, which is earth. And earth is, Gen is just there, it's stillness, like it doesn't move, no matter what is storming. And this is our within. That's what we are within. This is the energy from within, right? And so we need to have this stillness within in order to be able to respond earth here and receive whatever goes on without us, you know, what's going on around us. So when we can respond to it, then we are, because we have this stillness within, then we can respond. We're not reacting, we're not throwing tantrums, we're not being angry, we're not shouting and screaming. We are responding. We are receiving, we are transmuting this information into some goodness that we can then share. Okay, so we remain in calm. Let's lead the humbleness, prosperous and smooth. That is the Tao of heaven to send its energy down, shining down upon all beings. It is the Tao of earth to send its energy up, linking with heaven. It is the Tao of heaven to decrease the full and increase the humble. It is the Tao of earth to alternate the full and to make the full humble. So this is alternate transmuting, okay? Heaven decreases and increases the humble. Earth receives and transmutes, right, into humble. So when something is just too much going on, and I think this is what we got with this situation here. There's like just too much craziness going on, and we're being, in my case, I feel like I'm being attacked very often, not physically, but with words, right? Being blamed for all sorts of things. But all this, I just need to receive this so I can respond. And then remain still within, okay? The humble is honored to radiate his brilliance. When the humble is in a lower position, he does not lose his principle. Thus the superior person is able to carry his principle through to the end. Even if we are in a very difficult situation, we remain humble and we do not lose our principles. We do not change, right? This mountain tells us we do not change. We have worked very hard to get ourselves to the point that we are, right? We have removed so many patterns and old trauma, and we have worked really hard on ourselves to cultivate our virtues. So we are not losing this, right? We do not lose our principle. So then we keep on carrying our principle through to the end, okay? Because what's going on without us, we are just responding to it. We're not taking it as ours, okay? So let's have a look at the changing line, which is the third 9. Toiling humbly, the superior person ends in good fortune. Toiling humbly, the superior person. The multitudes of people completely accept him. Remain humble. So I think what this is, people around you will see what's going, you know, a lot of people around you will see what's going on, but they might not take action because they might be fearful too, right? But they see, and then they will take inspiration from your actions. If you, start, cursing or you're shouting and screaming and stuff, then that's not very good inspiration. But if you remain strong, I'm not saying being walked all over, not at all. This is not what I'm speaking about. But remaining strong, having strong boundaries, but not rising to the occasion. Right? You are staying strong and withholding your principles, standing up for yourself. Yes, but many times the retreating is the best. Because when we go into fight, right, we're just escalating the situation. Better to retreat many times and then think about how can I approach this best, a different way, take a different route, like the water here speaking about how to find like a different route around the obstacle. That's what water does. It flows through a different route. It doesn't go through the rock, right? It goes around the rock, and eventually the rock will sort of be shaped by the water, but that takes a long time. So third line, this line is the host of the Gua. It is the only solid line, mountain on top of the lower Gua and symbolizing a person shouldering an important task. Since it is a yang element at a yang place, firm and strong, the other 5 yin elements rely on it as its center. He is able to toil and still be humble. Inevitably, he will win the support of the people, and things will end in good fortune. Confucius says, working hard yet not showing off. Having great accomplishment, yet not feeling complacent. Being honest and sincere to the utmost indicates the person who has merit but still remains humble. Yeah, don't rise to the occasion. That's what it is. That's the advice for this one. So let's have a look at the... I think we should have, because I think this is moving into, and we've already spoken about that one. It's like, and this is fully like responding, really responding. So let's have a look at the 40 relief word here. Which is relief. And this one is speaking about thunder over rain. So you get this big thunder cloud is gathering in the sky. You can feel it. You can feel the pressure. And you can feel like there's a big cloud with all the rain. And then the thunder comes and it shakes this cloud. The thunder cloud comes and shakes it. And then all of a sudden you get all this tension, right? All this tension. And it's scary being in the middle of a thunderstorm. And it's the air pressure as well. It's just pressing down on us. But then the rain comes. And then it falls, and then relief comes from this, right? So the shock of it will actually lead to the relief. And this is the underlying energy. And the within, so this is like the nuclear, the within. And within that is water, which is, we've got to be careful not to be afraid. This is the advice we got yesterday too. Like, this is a scary situation. So we are becoming, fearful many times, but we need to transmute this into courage. By thinking about that, the text, and then the mother, love makes you truly courageous, okay? So you need to look at the people around you and the love you feel for them, and how you, by your conduct, can be an inspiration to them so they can move forward feeling strong and competent too. Although there are some toxic elements within the situation, right? So be the loving mother, and then to yourself first. Right? Always first to yourself, because if we're not being loving to ourselves, then we cannot be loving to others. And then transmute this fear into courage instead. And there's like, and the kidneys are associated with the water element, and the dark blue color, almost black, right? Out in the middle of the ocean, that dark blue, black color is the color. And what you could do is you could sit down and you can breathe in and out through your nose, or you can stand up doing this as well. Just anchor yourself into the surface below, like we did in the beginning. And here you're breathing in through your nose, and feel like you're breathing into your kidneys. And they're like at the back, a little bit, above your waist. And then breathe in this dark blue, black color into your kidneys. And feel it pulsating in your kidneys. And as you breathe out, and then breathe in through your nose, then pulling in through your crown point. This dark blue color into your kidneys. And then as you breathe out, you're using the sound Tway. And I breathe in courage. Tway. And breathe out fear. Breathe in courage. Tway. Transmuting this fear that you feel into courage. And then give it to Mother Earth as you breathe out. And say Tway. Tway. Do that a few times. If you feel the fear rising, And then you can calm your inner sense and then become this mountain within, this stillness within, and then being able to receive what's going on, transmute it into something good. Or if you just respond to it, and the response might be to just step back sometimes. But this is not a day of action at all. It's more of watching and listening and responding and remaining still and transmuting this fear. So I hope this reading was of benefit to you, and I'm wishing you a beautiful day ahead.